gird your loins, because you're going to hear, we've got the first convicted felon in the White House in the history of America. A finale to this sham in New York City. Judge Juan Marchand sentenced President Trump to no penalty, no jail time, no anything. It's called an unconditional release, but nonetheless, his haters are going to get to refer to him now officially as a convicted felon. Here was the president a few moments ago, and I can't wait to get the reaction from Brad Parscale, who's going to join us in just a couple of moments. Let me just quickly play. The audio was released because this judge, who didn't allow any microphones or cameras in the sham trial, made sure that at least the audio portion of his sentencing was released to the public. President Trump appeared virtually on screen and was beamed into the New York City courtroom.
It's been a political witch hunt. It was done to damage my reputation so that I'd lose the election, and obviously that didn't work. And the people of our country got to see this firsthand because they watched the case in your courtroom. They got to see this firsthand, and then they voted, and I won and got the largest number of votes by far of any Republican candidate in history, and won, as you know, all 7 swing states, won conclusively all 7 swing states, and won the popular vote by millions and millions of votes. And they've been watching your trial, so they understood it.
That was President Trump addressing the court during his preposterous sentencing today. And talk about a great guest to react in real time. The media world has been following with great interest the news that Salem Media Group, the company that I've worked for the past, 24 years, announced the appointment of Brad Parscale as Chief Strategy Officer. Now, Brad, of course, you recognize his name and his face. He was just pretty revolutionary in the role he played as digital and media director for Trump's campaign in 2016. But he's been a digital architect and entrepreneur for decades before that. And now our company, Salem, is going to utilize his skills and his insights as our chief strategy officer. And it's kind of neat to be able to welcome a guy who doesn't give a lot of interviews. This is pretty timely because you know President Trump as well as anybody. You worked closely with him in 2016, of course, and here comes this dark day where he's sentenced today in a New York City courtroom. Just if you can, I want to talk about your role with Salem and media and digital in general, but give me your initial reaction to this sentencing today in New York City, Brad.
Well, first, I've been with the Trumps for 15 years. I was the digital media director 16. I was campaign manager in 2020 until July of 2020, and then I stepped down and still continued with the software and data. And in 2024, our software powered the Trump campaign. So, I'm still with him today. Look, I was pissed today. I've been texting with Eric and Eric and Don Jr. and Laura and everybody. This is just them with framing. They've lost. They don't have much left to do. And what they're trying to do is to be able to say convicted felon. They want to try to set up a whole series of framing to win the 26, elections in the House and the Senate. This is all, they're in trouble. They know they lost on immigration. They know they've lost. They don't have a lot of framing battle left. The left is in a lot of turmoil, even worse than 17. They need to find a new brand. They need to find a new way to get people to donate against Trump. And this is it. This is their moment to try to get something to capture, to raise money, and to start a war for 26 and to create a media narrative. There's nothing more. Trump knows this. The family knows this. Anybody that knows politics knows this is all it's about, is to get a new hook and put new bait on the hook to bring in new donors and to try to get them riled up to start a new movement.
And yet, on the other hand, nothing can take away from this light we see on the horizon. In 10 days, he's going to get inaugurated. And I keep thinking about the term a golden era. You know, we're returning to a president that believes in the rule of law, who believes in our borders, who believes in our sovereignty. We've got a president who wants to drill and use our own resources. We've got a president who, you know, his first term, there were no wars breaking out all over the world. I mean, he's inheriting a mess, but gosh, we've got a House and a Senate majority that of Republicans. We can't lose sight of the optimism that millions of us are feeling right now, Brad.
Yeah, I mean, look, we also have a President Trump that I think is different than the President Trump I worked for in 2017, you know, for years. I think he's been the humility after the assassination attempt that came across him. I think the team he has around him. You got to remember, in 2017, we'd won the election, but nobody had actually ever run the government before. So now you have a Trump administration that's going to come in firing on day one. I think there's less anti-Trump people. You know, let's not forget the Paul Ryan, you know, fiasco of trying to do the medical thing, the McCain, everybody. You have now a party that is Trump. There's a lot of data out there shows now that we've moved from the Reagan party to the Trump party. And if you start putting all that together, I think you're going to see a much more successful campaign. I think we have a real target for reconciliation. We have a target on immigration. We have a party that's really more aligned. Now, I wish we had a bigger majority in the House. I still think Speaker Johnson has a lot of work in front of him. We have a slim majority, so we have to, instead of fighting to just save these majorities, we need to grow them in 2026. But again, this is all about them having a narrative to fight because they're losing on all the policies right now. And they know it, and they need a message. And the only thing that's really worked for them in the last 5-6 years has been hate Trump.
Right. I want to pull the curtain back a little bit because I consider this audience family, my extended, if sometimes dysfunctional family. I've gotten to do this with Salem for 24 years. The Salem Media Group is different. You know, there's something different about the Salem way of doing things. And for people who listen to us and watch us and, you know, Town Hall and Red State and all of our properties that we own and our radio stations around the country and Salem News Channel, all of our assets, there's a Salem way of operating. Our mantra is sort of, you know, we want to do good as a company while doing good for others. I mean, in December, my show, we raised almost $250,000 for the Prison Fellowship Angel Tree campaign. Our audience donated $240,000 to send Bibles and Christmas presents to the children of incarcerated people in America. I mean, this audience is, we're connected in an amazing way. And I've been reading and hearing about your meetings already with Salem. It was announced a couple of weeks ago or a week or so ago that you're going to be you're the chief strategy officer for the Salem Media Group. Can you talk a little bit about your perspective about where Salem sits right now as a media company, what the future holds, and frankly, what your role is going to be as chief strategy officer?
Well, I think it was a little divine. I've gone through kind of a Christian awakening for myself over the last 4 or 5 years. I lost 2 children years ago, and they would probably be about, you know, that really awakened me into what got me into my life, and also what's happened in this country. What was turned for me to visually see what cancel culture and the destruction of the Marxist, leftist, socialist machine awakened me. But let's just talk about Salem for a minute. It's not about me. Salem's in a great position. I had this vision about 4 months ago, and I literally a dream about what I thought the importance of Salem could be. And I was driving a month after that vision I had. I ended up getting into a bus with a board member of Salem and telling him about my vision. And that board member said, "You know what, Brad, that could be possible." Within a week, I was talking to Ed Assinger at Salem and having a meeting where we discussed it.
Co-founder.
Founder. Within 60 days of that, my investment group I represent called Waterstone had made a purchase, and we had made a deal to make Salem debt-free. That all happened from my vision to 90 days, and only God could make that happen. And I truly believe that. And I believe that now Salem is one of almost every other media company that I would say competitors are in this market have nearly $500 million in debt, $2 billion in debt, big numbers. Salem Media has a balance sheet right now that is the best in the business. I believe it has unwavering values, and I think God is seeing that, and the people see that. I think that's what you were talking about a minute ago, these unwavering values. And I believe right now it's in a position to be a significant player over the next 4 years of what this Trump administration. I also believe we're about to be 250 years old as a nation. A lot of countries don't make it past that in history of the planet. I believe that Trump has torn down what was destroying our country, almost like, Samson in the Bible and things. And what we've had to do is now we're rebuilding. And I think the next 250 years of America look good. And it's companies like Salem who are going to drive that message. There's a lot of uneasiness in the media world right now. I mean, look at the Washington Post just exploding. There's a war for truth. And I think Salem is going to be a leader in that truth. And I think people are looking for that information. And I feel the reason why I helped bring this investment to turn Salem into this powerhouse plus join is because I believe tremendously that Salem is the voice of the spiritual reckoning and revitalization that's occurring in America with Trump, with the entire thing. If you look at the day I came in 2016 to help run this campaign, I had to have 3 armed guards. People wanted to kill me. I was being canceled from everything. I've been canceled from everything because what they wanted to do is exile us. You can't say anything like this. And today I can walk down the street with my MAGA hat on. I can say what I want. I can say First Amendment's been protected. It is a tired, different world than it was 8 years ago in America. And I think that's mostly because of Trump and his family. And I want to make sure that Salem is the strongest voice of that message.
I had a friend who's in another media company much bigger than this one, and they're facing all kinds of challenges, and he is in amazement. He said it absolutely is a God thing, the way this deal came together so quickly. You couldn't have put this thing together if you spent years strategizing a way to do it, and it was. I believe that this is a divine intervention, and I will tell you internally, everybody is so excited about Brad Parscale joining our team and what you're going to be able to provide in terms of your insights and in your expertise in the digital space, in what we do on air. We're just all so excited. On a personal note, of course, and I know your story, I've followed your career for years. Our hearts go out to you and your wife over your loss, and that is a life-changing experience that I know that people can relate to. And I just feel so honored to be able to meet you this way. I can't wait to spend some time with you in person very soon. And again, you're kind of a recluse with interviews. You don't do a lot of them. So thank you for coming on the Mike Gallagher Show. I know our audience appreciates it very, very much, and best of luck. Keep fighting the good fight, and can't wait to work with you as our Chief Strategy Officer for the Salem Media Group. Thank you, Brad, very, very much, and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Mike, for having me on.
Appreciate it. Brad Parscale joining us, our new Chief Strategy Officer. You've heard me say in the last few days, 2025 is going to be the year for Gallagher with X and Facebook and digital and Instagram, and I mean it. I meant it. That's what, and he's the reason why. We're gonna and again, Salem Media Group now poised to be a lot less stress-free than some of our other media competitors. And hey, we can't do it without you. Got a lot of breaking news today. Let's get right back to it here in the Relief Factor studios from the upstate of South Carolina, where I'm getting ready for some snow and ice as well. 20 past the hour. Welcome in.